Disclaimer: this is our personal opinion at Destiny Architect, based on how we interpret and apply Feng Shui in practical modern life. Other practitioners may have different opinions, different schools, and different methods, and that is fine. The point here is not to force one view, but to challenge lazy thinking, fear-based advice, and decorative nonsense that gets passed off as Feng Shui. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself whether Feng Shui is really superstition, or if most people have just been fed such a shallow, childish version of it that they never got close to the real thing? Let me ask you something even more direct. If the way you position your desk, control light, and manage clutter affects how safe, focused, and mentally clear you feel, then why are so many people still acting like their environment has zero effect on their performance? And if modern psychology now confirms that your space changes your mood, your focus, and the quality of your decisions, then why do people still laugh at Feng Shui while sitting in bad layouts that quietly sabotage them every single day? Stay with me, because I'm going to strip away the lucky toys and mystical panic to show you why practical Feng Shui is not about buying random objects from people who profit from your confusion. I'm going to show you how its core ideas line up directly with what modern science already knows about how our brains react to a room. And most importantly, I am going to show you how to use these ideas in a way that is simple, useful, and brutally practical for any modern workspace, without turning your office into a bad taste circus. If conversations like this help you think more clearly, click like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who's tired of hearing Feng Shui treated like a joke. Now let's get real. The moment most people hear Feng Shui, their minds jump in one of two lazy directions. They either think it's a mystical superstition full of weird rules, or they think it's just about bamboo plants and tiny fountains, overpriced ornaments that do nothing but collect dust. Both are wrong. Real Feng Shui is about how human beings respond to a space. It's about flow, position, light, and pressure. It's about the way your body and mind react to a room long before you even have a chance to think about it. It developed using symbolic language, like dragons and tigers, because that was the language they had. But underneath the symbols is a simple truth. People perform differently in different spaces. Some rooms make you feel sharp and calm. Other rooms make you feel stressed, distracted, and tired. That's not superstition. That's just life. The problem is, most people only encounter Feng Shui after it's been twisted into commercial nonsense. They're told to buy a cure, hang something red, or put a money frog on their desk, and that prosperity will just show up. That's not Feng Shui. That's selling false hope. When you strip all that away, you see why serious people still use these principles, even if they don't call it Feng Shui. Because when it's done right, Feng Shui isn't magic. It's about reducing the friction between your nervous system and the room you're in. This is where it gets interesting. What does modern environmental psychology tell us? It tells us that our brains need to feel safe to focus. It tells us clutter is like visual noise that drains our attention. It tells us light controls our energy and mood. It tells us that a view and a sense of control over our room improves performance. In other words, science is now proving what practical Feng Shui has been saying all along, just with a different vocabulary. Let's start with the most important principle. If you get this wrong, nothing else in the room feels right. The command position. This is the point where people realize Feng Shui isn't so silly after all. The idea is simple. When you sit at your desk, you should be able to see the door without being directly in its path, and you should have a solid wall behind you. Explained badly, this sounds mystical. Explained honestly, it's just common sense. Think of yourself as a goalkeeper. A good goalie never turns his back to the field of play. He stands where he can see everything coming. Your brain is the same. When your back is to the door, anyone can walk in behind you. Your brain senses that exposure. It keeps a part of your attention on alert, scanning for threats you can't see. That wasted energy is stolen directly from your focus. You become jumpy, reactive, and easy to interrupt. Now, put a solid wall behind you. Let your eyes see the entrance. Suddenly, the room feels different. You feel anchored, secure, in control. You stop being surprised by people, and that low-grade anxiety just dissolves. In Feng Shui, they call this support and command. In psychology, they call it safety and reduced threat load. The name doesn't matter. The result is the same. You think better. That is practical Feng Shui. Now, let's talk about clutter, because this is where the conversation gets blunt. A messy desk isn't a sign of genius. It's a sign that your space is making your brain work way too hard. Feng Shui says clutter blocks good energy. Psychology says clutter is visual noise that overloads your brain. It's the same conclusion. A messy space leads to a messy mind. Every useless object on your desk is like a needy child pulling on your sleeve, begging for a tiny bit of your attention. That pile of old papers isn't just paper. It's a stack of unfinished decisions screaming at you. All that junk creates an environment that constantly reminds you of everything you haven't done. And then people wonder why they feel exhausted before the day has even started. A clean path isn't just for looks. It tells your brain there's room to move and think. A clear desk isn't sterile. It gives your mind a clean slate. A room with order doesn't magically attract opportunity, but it puts you in a state where you can actually see it and grab it. The strongest Feng Shui cure isn't buying another object. It's a trash bag. Now for orientation. This is where people either get smart or get silly. Yes, the direction you face matters, but it matters in context, not as some childish one-size-fits-all magic trick. People hear that facing east is good for money, and suddenly they twist their desk to face east, even if it means staring at a blank wall with their back to the door. That is not serious. That's like choosing the perfect tie to wear while your house is on fire. The practical use of direction is to reinforce your intention. Your orientation can be a psychological anchor for your work. For example, facing east, the direction of the sunrise, can help you feel a sense of new beginnings and momentum. Facing north can feel quieter and more stable, better for deep, focused work. Different directions can create a different feeling in a room, but this only works after the basics are right. Command position first, no clutter first, good lighting first. If those are wrong, obsessing over direction is a total waste of time. Let's talk about light and view. If the command position is about security, then light is about life force. People complain about feeling flat in the afternoon, but their office is literally starving them of energy. Bad lighting makes you tired. No view of the outside world makes your brain feel trapped and fatigued. Your body needs the rhythm of natural light. It needs to see something other than a wall to feel alive. A room with good natural light, a sense of openness, and maybe a living plant simply feels better to work in. You can call that good qi. You can call it regulating your nervous system, but don't pretend it's not important. And if you don't have a great window, you improve what you can. Get better light bulbs. Put up a large landscape picture. The point isn't to have a perfect room. It's to stop your room from quietly working against you. Now for the final principle, which sounds like a myth, but it's actually a practical organizing tool. The balance of the dragon and the tiger. Here's the simple version. The left side of your desk is for action. The right side is for support. Explained badly, this is a fairy tale. Explained properly, it's a way to organize your desk to match the way your brain works. It turns your workspace from a random dumping ground into an operating system for your mind. Put your active items on the left, your to-do list, your phone, the project you're working on right now. This is your go zone. Put your support items on the right. Reference books, your lamp, completed files. This is your stability zone. By doing this, you create a workflow. Your brain learns that the left is for starting and doing, and the right is for supporting and finishing. The symbols aren't the point. The point is that physical organization shapes how you think, and how you think shapes what you produce. People who laugh at the dragon and tiger are often sitting at a desk that has no system at all. That's not skepticism, that's just laziness. So let's bring this home. Practical Feng Shui isn't superstition. It becomes superstition when it's reduced to fear, lucky charms, and nonsense rules. It becomes practical again when you see what it's really trying to do. Help you think, work, and live better in the space you're in. A strong command position isn't superstition. It makes you feel more focused and in control. Clearing clutter isn't superstition. It clears your mind. Using good light isn't superstition. It gives you the energy to perform. Balancing your workspace isn't superstition. It's just smart design. So the next time somebody dismisses Feng Shui, ask them if they are reacting to the real thing or just the cheap caricature of it. Because the real thing, when you strip away the nonsense, is far more serious and far more useful than most people think. Disclaimer. Again, this is our personal opinion at Destiny Architect. Other practitioners may have different views, and that is completely valid. Our view is simple. Once you remove fear and decorative gimmicks, Feng Shui becomes a powerful and practical tool that is very hard to dismiss. If this gave you a more useful way to think, click like, subscribe, and share it with other people who are ready for